You see, NFTs are something that really taken my attention in the last year as I've started to understand the power of what they are and what they can do. We've got the protocol layer, which is the layer ones, the Bitcoin, the Ethereums, the Solanas, the Polygons, and all of these others. And they're amazing. And they facilitate the technology for the transfer of value for the internet at large and for the new digital age. And it's an incredibly important technology, not only for money, but of all digital value and digital scarcity. You see, in a digital world, you can produce infinite amounts of something, infinite amounts of JPEGs, infinite amounts of information. So how do you create scarcity in a digital world? Well, that's what blockchains do. They create the ability to have scarcity in a digital world and therefore have value. So humans value things based on scarcity. And so you need that. If not, nothing in a digital world has any value at all. Okay, so that's what blockchains did. But the big breakthrough was Vitalik's breakthrough with Ethereum, which was the smart contract. And the smart contract is what created NFTs.
BNB, the native token of the Binance-initiated blockchain network BNB Chain, is losing ground against Bitcoin, BTC, in the wake of regulatory action against Binance-branded dollar-pegged stablecoin Bust. The BNB-BTC ratio, listed on Binance, the world's largest exchange by trading volume, slipped to 0.1257 early Tuesday, reaching the lowest since August 2, 2022. Hello and welcome to Crypto Street. In today's video, Real Vision CEO Raoul updates about his outlook for NFTs in 2023. Raoul also breaks down the importance of regulatory clarity in the space and how it will drive the future of institutional adoption in crypto.
So let me talk you through a bit of this. Now, what is a smart contract? What is an NFT? It's in fact a smart contract stored on a blockchain. We all know that, but if you actually thought what it means, well, there's three component parts to all of this. Firstly, the contract. You see, in human society, every single agreement, in the broadest sense, is a contract, be it written, implied, or verbal, from religious vows to airline tickets, from meeting a friend for a rum, or using Twitter. Contracts are literally the base layer of society that build on trust. You see, human societies can't function without these contractual terms about how we interact and what we do. They are contracts. And as I said, some of these are verbal and some of them are explicit, like your insurance contract or a contract to buy a share. Those are all contracts. The other point of this is stored on a blockchain, that element. You see, all contracts need to have some record. Some of them may be handshakes. That's you and I agreeing to something. Or it may be a nod, approval, or in the City of London, it used to be my word is my bond, which is if I agree to something, it is sacrosanct that we have done that deal. But you can also include rooms of lawyers, databases, all other ways of storing a contract. Or you can do it on a blockchain. Now, what a blockchain does is it allows these contracts to be settled, disputed or agreed, and allows it to be recorded. You see, the blockchain allows for the verification by a distributed ledger of any contract. So therefore, you get around the Byzantine generals problem of not knowing who agreed what with whom. This way, everybody agrees what's in the contract. Okay, so that has abilities to scale, and we'll come on to that in a bit. But it's a really, really important thing that now all contracts can be written in code and agreed that this contract exists and for everybody to see that it exists and the terms of that contract.
Since the NYDFS and SEC specifically called out Paxos for its Bust product and not Pax Dollar, it's possible that the enforcement is more about particulars involving Bust than a broad attack on stablecoins generally, Galaxy Research's Alex Thorne said in a note to clients on Friday. This indicates that these agencies are particularly targeting Binance rather than stablecoins in general, at least at this time. If that's not enough, the move by SEC and NYDFS aligns with Binance's recent decision to suspend dollar transfers and its admission of gaps in regulatory compliance. The exchange is now expecting fines for past misconduct.
Now, what's interesting about the smart contract element of an NFT is the fact that it kind of allows for the settlement mechanism to be automated in code and resolved without the need for a third party. So you don't need the courts, the lawyers, the notaries, the accountants, or anybody. So that's the really interesting element here. You have a contract and it can settle automatically and it's verifiable by everybody. Okay, it sounds kind of a bit boring because it doesn't really mean a lot. It's also decentralized, and this is one of the key elements. Now, most of you understand the elements of decentralization is having this immutable database with all of this information stored, which is verified by millions or hundreds of millions of people. That's the power of blockchain. So nobody can change the terms or conditions. And God knows how many times we've all had to fight over something where somebody agreed something, and then when you come to get paid or whatever the outcome, it doesn't happen. So that's the element of smart contracts.
The ratio peaked in November as the collapse of Sam Bankman-Fried's exchange brought increased scrutiny to Binance and other crypto exchanges. BNB had mostly outperformed BTC until November 2022, when the ratio started trending downwards as sentiment deteriorated following the collapse of FTX, Kaiko said, adding that the token can be interpreted as a proxy of the exchange's performance.
Now, right now, people think of NFTs as art or some sort of community thing, and both are amazing uses. Now, for example, in the background, I have my NFTs displayed. And NFTs are super interesting because they fulfill so many different elements of what makes Web3 Web3. Firstly, we saw, I think it was in my conversations with RAC, the award-winning music artist, he kind of taught me the power of community and how NFTs could be used for music. But then within Real Vision, we started talking to artists like Mad Dog Jones and Micah Johnson. And they were doing two different things. Mad Dog Jones was creating digital art and making it scarce. So places like DeviantArt have a community of 70 million people plus creating digital art and enjoying it. But there was no way of selling it because you couldn't create scarcity. But with a blockchain, you can make it a one of one. It's kind of like a limited edition print or a unique painting where you own it. Now, yes, you can have the image of it. You can have the image of the Mona Lisa. You don't own the Mona Lisa. In fact, more people have the image of it, the more valuable the actual original is, which is something a lot of people don't get their heads around. So artists are always innovators, and they took to the space. They started realizing that digital art was something that was a new form of art and that they could experiment with it. And along came a revolution in art. And it started with people like Beeple, incredibly putting together 5,000 pieces of digital work over a number of years, and then that being sold as one NFT in itself. And they were different NFTs, and that sold for 69 million. That took the art world by surprise, and Sotheby's and Christie's have both been involved in this as they've realized that this is a new form of art. Art has always broken boundaries, whether it was the Impressionist painters, the postmodernists, the expressionists, everybody has reinvented what art means. Photography reinvented what art means. How can a photograph be scarce? Well, it is if you create the limited edition print of it. CryptoPunks was a project that was pretty worthless that was done several years ago. And eventually in 2020, people started thinking, well, these were the OGs in the space, 10,000 of these pixelated punks, and I am one of those too. And people started thinking, well, if I want to show that I've been around this space and understand the space, I want to own one. And that's where status comes in. Same as we all do. You know, we buy artwork, not only for our own appreciation, but for status. We buy watches, nice watches, because we like the watches and because they socially signal something about us. The clothes that we wear, what we do, our houses, our cars, everything. Humans are ridiculous and we love to socially signal stuff. Even when we are wealthy and we drive an old Volvo, like the old chairman of IKEA, beaten up 20-year-old car, he's signaling something himself. Everybody signals. It's a human trait that is very common. So that works digitally as well as it does physically. We all wear designer labels often because they signal something, and we do the same in the internet. And the PFP became the important part of that movement. So CryptoPunks became the PFP that people would show that they could afford to spend the money on it, but also that they understood the space and where it was going.
So, is it a good time to invest in crypto and NFTs? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.